from Des Moines. Different location, but still here. I'm Megyn Kelly. Moments ago, 7 of the top Republican presidential contenders faced off for the final time before the Iowa caucuses. In an issues-focused debate, the candidates addressed what's wrong with Washington, addressed illegal immigration, the threat from ISIS, social issues, and even their own inconsistent statements. But perhaps one of the biggest stories of the night, not their attacks on one another, but on Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton. Charles Krauthammer is a syndicated columnist and a Fox News contributor, and with me now. Charles, your thoughts?
Hello there. I'm afraid you keep
Hi,
me
sorry.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't exactly ready for that, but I am ready for your question. I thought this was a very interesting evening because the absence, well, I won't even say why. It was a very spirited debate. It was much more substantive than about any other, and there was almost none of the ad hominems and the insults that one had heard in the earlier debates. There was a lot of hard questioning and a lot of tough exchanges, but it did not have anything to do, I thought, with the kind of personal level that we'd heard before. I'll leave it to the viewers to figure out why. Secondly, I thought it was, interestingly, the best night that Jeb had in all of the debates, and I might even say I think he might have had the best night of the group in this debate. He was very strong. He had one moment where he kind of flipped back to Marco Rubio on the question of immigration, kind of a reverse.
I think we have that.
Yeah,
I think we have that. Let's take a listen. Let's take a listen, and then we'll get your thoughts.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Jeb mentions the book. That is the book where you changed your position on immigration, because you used to support a path to citizenship.
So did you.
Well, but you changed the in the book.
So did you, Marco. When you led the charge with the Gang of Eight, I supported it because you asked me to. I think it's important for people in elected office to try to forge consensus to solve problems. There's never going to be a perfect bill.
All right.
But when you didn't do that and you asked people to support, you shouldn't cut and run.
But Megyn,
you should stick with it. And that's exactly what happened. He cut and run, and that's a tragedy, because Megyn, now it's harder and harder to actually solve this problem.
There's not going to be any consensus on this issue until we enforce our immigration laws.
Hey,
that is abundantly clear. No, you are not going to be able to ram down the throat of the American people your approach.
Go ahead, Charles.
What I found ironic here is it was a kind of a reversal of that moment in one of the earlier debates when there was a tangle between Rubio and Bush, and Rubio turned it very strongly against Bush. So I thought this was one debate where Bush did very well. I thought in his own way Christie did well. He has a way of coming in after the others are arguing and sort of rising up above it and saying, this is why you need a doer, a governor, etc. When he had that line about you need a dictionary to explain Washington speak into ordinary English, again, setting himself aside. He didn't have a soaring moment, but I thought he did well. Cruz and Rubio were the most interesting because they were the ones who had the most at stake. Each of them had their moments. Cruz had a bit of a rocky start when he could attack you, the moderators, for trying to cause argument, debate between you. The crowd was not very appreciative of that. And Rubio, I thought, had his rockiest night. He had the good moments, but I think on immigration, where you show the contradiction between what he'd said a few years ago and what he said now, he had a really hard time arguing his way out of that box.
You know, we talked about that a fair amount, and I mean, my own view on that was, why would I not show the audience what he said in his own words? Why is it more effective for the anchor to just sit there and repeat it? He's not going to deny that this is him. I mean, we'll make sure it's in context and it's fair. And it is something. The video portion of it is something to actually see them on camera saying the things and then having to explain them. And there's no question that Senator Rubio has flipped significantly on this issue, and it's a problem for him with a lot of GOP voters.
Well, you did the same with Cruz. You showed also his contradiction where he came out for legalization, which he now says was really sort of a sham. He didn't really mean it. Cruz, I thought, had, I'm not sure that his argument in the end is a better one, but he made a better one tonight, and he kind of wriggled out of it with slightly more finesse and a sense of conviction than Rubio did in explaining away his contradictions. So it was an interesting array, and I thought I mean, I have a lot of affection for Rand Paul. I disagree with him probably more on the issues than any of the other candidates, but he does show the importance of libertarianism as a critique of the mainstream conservatism. I don't think he affected his standing in any way, but having him on the stage I thought was an addition.
What did you think about Ted Cruz's manner? Because normally he's very aggressive. You know, he gets in there and he fights for his airtime. Normally, not all the time. But I thought tonight maybe less so. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought so. But again, I think that this was, and I've tried to go the whole segment without saying his name, but I'm going to fail right here. I think it was the absence of Trump.
You should feel free.
In the absence of Trump, because I think there wasn't that presence hanging over him. And remember, among the field on the stage, he was a front runner. So he was sort of wanting to sit more on his lead than he would if Trump were there. I thought one of the most interesting aspects of the debate is how little people went after Trump. The only one who really did, and I thought it was a rather nicely delivered hit, was by Jeb when he came out against the demonization of the other, particularly Muslims, in response to the video that had been shown on YouTube. And also I thought he made a good defense, for the first time, a rather forceful defense of his position on how to act with ISIS in the Middle East, particularly since the question had a kind of a hook on it, mentioning the failures of his brother's policy in the Middle East. He sidestepped it, and I thought he handled it very well.
Charles, great to see you.